The bridge called forgiveness. There was a young man named Liam who carried his past like a heavy backpack filled with stones. Every mistake he had ever made, every word he regretted, every opportunity he lost, every person he hurt lived inside that bag. He wore it everywhere. To work. To family gatherings. Even in his sleep, it weighed on him. Years ago, Liam had made a poor decision that changed the course of his life. He quit school, fell in with the wrong crowd, and let down the people who loved him most. He always told himself, "I can't start again. I ruined my chance." Time passed, but the guilt didn't. It followed him like a shadow. He worked hard, tried to move on, but every time he looked in the mirror, he saw only the version of himself he couldn't forgive. One evening, he took a walk along the old stone bridge outside his town, the same place he used to visit as a teenager when life felt too big to handle. The sunset reflected on the water below, and for a long time he just stood there, thinking. A little boy passed by, throwing pebbles into the river. He looked up at Liam and said, "You know, sir, when I throw a stone, the ripples don't last forever. They fade." Liam smiled sadly. "That's true, but some ripples cause too much damage." The boy shrugged and said, "Maybe, but the river keeps flowing anyway." Those words hit Liam's heart like a gentle strike of truth. He realized he'd been standing still, punishing himself while the rest of the world, like the river, kept moving forward. That night, Liam wrote a letter. Not to anyone else, but to himself. He wrote about every mistake, every regret, every time he wished he could go back. And at the end, he wrote, "I forgive you. You did the best you could with what you knew. You made mistakes, yes, but you also learned. You've suffered enough. Now it's time to live again." He folded the letter, walked back to the bridge, and released it into the river. The paper floated for a moment, then dissolved into the flowing water, carried away like the pain he'd held for years. Liam felt lighter than he had in a long time. Not because the past had vanished, but because he finally understood that he was more than his mistakes. From that day forward, he lived differently. He pursued what he once thought he'd lost, reconnected with his family, and treated himself with the same compassion he gave to others. And whenever guilt whispered in his ear, he would say softly, "I love myself enough to forgive the person I was and to believe in the person I'm becoming."